Can present-day Greeks understand the Greek of the New Testament? At last, here is the definitive answer. Ne. I mean ne. And in Greek, ne means yes. Ge, uhi, or in modern Greek, ochi, no. I repeat the question. Can present-day Greeks understand the Greek of the New Testament? Ne ge uhi, yes and no. How can that be, yes and no? It must be one or the other. It can't be both, can it? Well, the answer depends on which Greeks. Which present-day Greeks are you talking about? The Greeks in Melbourne? The Greeks of Toronto? The Greek Cypriot diaspora of London? Or maybe you're referring to the Greeks of Astoria, New York? Or do you mean the elderly generation of Greeks living in Athens? Or perhaps you're referring to young university-educated Greeks? Or might you be referring to the Greek monks living on Mount Athos, who daily read the Greek Old Testament Septuagint and the New Testament in the original Greek? Can present-day Greeks understand the Greek of the New Testament? The Greeks living in Greece who have university degrees understand more New Testament Greek than second, third and fourth generation diaspora Greeks from the UK, USA, Canada, Australia and so on. And certainly the monks on Mount Athos understand more than the highly educated Greeks with doctorate degrees. How much of New Testament Greek is comprehensible also depends on which type of Greek dialect is spoken by the person. Most present-day Greeks speak Standard Modern Greek or Demotic Greek, Dimotiki, but there are several dialects with archaic features. The following dialects may share some of the archaisms: Cappadocian or Pontic or Roméika, Cheimarriotika, Cypriot, Cretan, Griko, Tsakonian, Sarakatsanian, Maniot, and there are others not shown here. Before 1923, approximately 1.5 million Greeks lived in Anatolia. They spoke different dialects of Greek depending upon the region which they came from, for example, Cappadocian or Pontic. In Turkish, Greek is referred to as Rumca. There are few numbers that still speak Rumca in Turkey today. In 1923, there was a compulsory population exchange and about 1.5 million Anatolian Greek refugees went to Greece. Their descendants, who now live in Greece, USA, Australia and other places, are still familiar with the Pontic dialect of Greek. In Standard Modern Greek, to make a verb negative, you would add then in front of it. For example, θέλω, I want, would become δεν θέλω, I don't want. Then is a shortened form of the ancient Greek ουδέν. The u has been dropped. So it's just then. In Pontic Greek, to make a negative, you say a k in front of the verb. So thelo, I want, becomes k thelo, I don't want. The k is a shortened form of uki, which is from the ancient Greek uchi, not or no. Neuter endings of nouns are preserved. For example, pedion, which in standard modern Greek has become pedi, and it means a child. Then there's the word chorion, which in standard modern Greek is chorio, and it means a village. Originally, the word just meant a small place. Another feature that Pontic retains is the imperative ending second person singular. For example, rhapson, which in standard modern Greek is rhapse. In standard modern Greek, there are no infinitives. However, in Pontic Greek, the infinitive has been preserved. And here are some examples. You can pause the video if you want to study this carefully. Cheimarriotika is a Greek dialect that is spoken in the town of Himara in Albania. And here are a couple of words from this dialect. Kiverti. This word means beehive. In standard modern Greek, the word for beehive is gypseli. Kiverti comes from the ancient Greek kivertion or givethron, which means any hollow vessel, chest or box. The other word is gathero. And in Demotic Greek, it is katharizo, and it means I clean. And now we come to Cyprus and the Greek Cypriot dialect. This dialect is also spoken by diaspora Cypriots living in the United Kingdom, Australia, America, South Africa, and other places. There are many archaisms in the Greek Cypriot dialect. Here are just a few. Third-person plural endings are preserved. For example, thelusin, they want, and in standard modern Greek it is thelun. Verb order is like in Koine Greek. For example, agabas me, do you love me? In Demotic Greek, στη δημοτική γλώσσα, they say more often me agabas, or they shorten it to magabas. In Greek Cypriot, they still may say something like epesan chame, they fell down to the ground. In Demotic Greek, δημοτική, or the standard modern Greek, they would say epesan chamo, or epesan katagis, epesan kado, they fell down. The articular infinitive is preserved. For example, lein, which comes from the Koine Greek lein, and then din, to din, meaning the look, and it comes from the infinitive idin. Another infinitive could be fayin, which means to eat. And then if you say to fayin, that means the food. See my video the infinitive in modern Greek for more details. Cypriot Greek preserves the sound of geminate consonants. For example, or gorkos. Notice when you have two gapas together, it makes a stronger sound. Or gorkos means a grain or a seed. If you have one P on its own, it sounds more like an English B. And then if you have two P's together, then it's a stronger sound. So listen to this word, probapi. Probapi. That means your ancestors, your great-grandfathers. And listen to the difference when you have one lambda or two lambdas together. Meli and meli. Meli with one lambda means concern or care, and with two lambdas, meli, that's about the future, when you're about to do something. And Greek Cypriots tend to preserve the final ni in a lot of words. For example, they would say dobedin, whereas in standard modern Greek it will be dobedi, and dobedin comes from dobedion. And Cypriot still use the word bothen, from where. For example, bothenise, where are you from? Whereas in Demotic Greek they would say abobuise, from where are you? Or where are you from? An English equivalent to the word bothen would be a word like whence, which sounds very archaic. We would never say that today. We would say from where. We now come to the island of Crete, where the Cretan dialect is spoken. Here are a few Cretan words. Dobilos, and in plural dabila. This means mud. In standard modern Greek you would use the word laspes. In Cypriot Greek we also use the word bilos and bila. Bilos in standard modern Greek would be used for clay, but in Cretan and Cypriot, bila means mud. Another word is kitome, which means lying down. Standard modern Greek, ime xaplomenos, means I'm lying down. Kitome comes from the verb gime. It is still used in modern Greek, gime, but it has a sense of meaning I'm located at, I'm found at a certain place. Another Cretan word is ademis, and it comes from three little words, idemi, which mean if but not, and it means otherwise. In standard modern Greek, it is more common to say alios, diaspora, or aliotika, otherwise. The Greek Cypriot dialect still uses idemi as one word. Griko is spoken in southern Italy, and there are different varieties of Griko depending upon the region. Here are three Griko words. Arti, which is tora in modern Greek, and it means now. Ode, which in modern Greek you have to read it backwards, εδώ, and it means here, and iero from eiro, which means to raise, and in modern Greek you would say sikono. But these words are still used every day in the Griko dialect. The next Greek dialect we're looking at is Tsakonian. This dialect is a descendant of the Doric dialect of ancient Greece. Tsakonian is spoken in the Arcadia region of the Peloponnese. And here are a few Tsakonian words. Enenga, from the Koine Greek inenga, which is the aorist of phero, I bring, and in modern Greek you would say ephera. Another word is oraga, from eoraga, which is the perfect tense of orao, I see. In modern Greek you would say echo di, I have seen. In Tsakonian you say oraga. The Sarakatsani people are found in several regions of Greece, in the Pindus mountain range, central Evia, in the mountains of northern Peloponnese, in the Rhodope mountains in Greece, in Thrace and in parts of Greek Macedonia. The vast majority of the Sarakatsani have abandoned their nomadic way of life and live permanently in their villages, while many members of the younger generation have moved to the principal Greek cities. Here are a few verbs in the Sarakatsanian dialect. Drame. Drame is aorist active second person singular imperative of the verb trecho, I run. In standard modern Greek, the imperative of second person singular would be drexe. However, in this dialect it's drame, and it's found in the Septuagint. Another word is emorphos, emorphi, emorpho, and it is from evmorphos, which means handsome or beautiful, and in standard modern Greek we would say omorphos, and evmorphos is found in the Septuagint in Sirach chapter 9 and verse 8. The Maniot dialect is spoken in the Mani Peninsula in southern Greece. And a couple of words from the Maniot dialect. Thikatera, meaning daughter, is derived from the word thigatera. In Demotic Greek, kori is much more common. Bleos, meaning more, is from blion. In standard modern Greek it is perisoteros, more. Can present-day Greeks understand the Greek of the New Testament? Those who speak a Greek dialect with many archaisms will understand more New Testament Greek than those who speak only the standard modern Greek. Vocabulary. Many words in the Greek New Testament are still spoken today and have the same meaning as they did 2,000 years ago. Here are some examples. Theos, Aion, Pneuma, Kyrios, Vasilia, Ilios, Uranos, Agabao, αγάπη, αγαπητός, θάλασσα, μισό, εκκλησία, πέτρα, σώζω, σώμα, επίσκοπος, στόμα, άγγελος, βαπτίζω, χαρά, χαίρετε, ειρήνη, καλός, θέλω, δούλος, κακός, έχω, αίμα, and phos. And there are many more. So if a Greek living today, a modern Greek, sees these words in the original Greek New Testament, they will have no problem understanding these words. I recommend you watch a video on Dr. Philemon Zachariou's YouTube channel. The video is called Every Person Interested in Greek Ought to Know. In this video, he identifies over 1,000 words from the Greek New Testament which are written, spelled, and understood the same way in Greek today. However, many words in the Greek New Testament are still spoken today, but have a different meaning. The meaning over time has changed. For example, the word astion in modern Greek means a joke, something that's funny. In Old Greek, astios meant belonging to a city, well-bred, polite, polished, hence elegant, fair, comely, beautiful, and proper. This word is found in Hebrews 11:23. Πίστη Μωυσής γεννήθης εκρύβει τρίμηνον υπό των πατέρων αυτού, διότι είδον αστείον το παιδίον. By faith, Moses, when he was born, was hid 3 months of his parents because they saw he was a proper child. Another word that has changed in meaning over the years is the word άλογον. Literally, it means without reason, something that is unreasonable or irrational. Άλογον. Well, in modern Greek, it's come to mean a horse. I suppose horses can't think very much, and they think that they're irrational animals. That's how it came to mean a horse. Well, we find this word in Acts 25, verse 27. Άλογον γάρ μη δοκί, πέμποντα δέσμιον μη και τας κατ' αυτού αιτίας σημάνε. For it seemeth to me unreasonable to send a prisoner, and not withal to signify the crimes laid against him. In modern Greek, we still have the adjective moros to mean foolish or stupid, but the neuter form moro in the singular and mora in the plural means baby. Da mora means the babies. A modern Greek person reading 1 Corinthians 1:27 will think it says the babies of the world instead of foolish things of the world. Αλλά τα μωρά του κόσμου εξελέξατο ο Θεός είνα τους σοφούς κατεσχύνει. But God hath chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. In modern Greek, the primary meaning of aravonas means engagement or engagement ring. It can also mean a deposit, a down payment or pledge to pay the full amount later. The more common word for a deposit in modern Greek is agaparo, which is really a word of Italian origin. We find the word aravona in 2 Corinthians 5:5. Aravona really is a Hebrew word, and it is found in the Old Testament. Some modern Greek translations use the word engisi, guarantee, to translate the word aravona, so as to avoid the meaning of engagement ring. Ο δε κατεργασάμενος ημάς εις αυτό τούτο, Θεός, ο και δούς ημίν τον αραβώνα του πνεύματος. Now he who has prepared us for this very thing is God, who also has given us the Spirit as a guarantee. Two other Greek words that have changed in meaning are pliroma and kolasis. 2,000 years ago, pliroma meant fullness or fulfillment. Today, pliroma means payment, or it can mean the crew of a ship. In New Testament Greek, kolasis meant punishment, and today, kolasi means hell. You can understand how the change happened. Being in hell is eternal punishment. Many words in the Greek New Testament are not used today and are unintelligible for the average Greek. You can see some of them here. The ones that are in red actually can be understood by Greeks who speak a certain dialect. For instance, arti, which means now, can be understood by someone who speaks Griko. Remember Griko, which is spoken by people in southern Italy? The word imeteros would be understood by someone who speaks Pontic Greek. And the word egamisan, which means close, as in reference to eyes, egamisan τους οφθαλμούς, they closed their eyes, that would be understood by a Cypriot because they still use that word today. Many verb conjugations and participles in the Greek New Testament are not used today and are unintelligible for the average Greek. You can see the words in blue. They would be difficult to understand for most Greeks. The words in red, eoraga, drame, and inenga, are found in a few dialects of Greek and so would be understood by a few Greeks who speak those dialects. So, can present-day Greeks understand the Greek of the New Testament? Ne, ke, uchi. Ne ke ochi. Yes and no. It depends on which New Testament Greek words they read. It depends on which part of the New Testament you are asking them to read. The New Testament consists of 27 books, and there are 8 authors, maybe 9 if Hebrews wasn't written by Paul but by some unknown author. The New Testament text consists of different genres or styles of writing. There are biographical accounts, narratives, history, letters of a doctrinal nature, sermons and exhortations. There are parables and poetry. There is text which is of a prophetic or apocalyptic nature. Each author had his own style and level of aptitude of the Greek language. For example, the author of the letter to the Hebrews was highly educated in Attic Greek. The Greek language he uses is extremely elegant and cultured. It is only when he quotes from the Septuagint that he uses the more common Koine, or as some people say, Koine Greek. Consequently, modern Greeks will have great difficulty understanding Hebrews, unless, of course, they have studied Attic Greek. Here is the pericope, Hebrews 9, verses 23 to 28. The words in red would be difficult to understand for the average Greek today. You can now see a modern Greek translation of the text on the right. I don't want this video to be too long, so I will only read one verse. Verse 23. Ανάγκη τα μεν υποδείγματα των εν της ουρανής. Τούτης καθαρίζεσθε, αυτά δε τα επουράνια κρίτωση, θυσίες παρά ταύτας. And now the same verse in modern Greek on the right. Verse 23. Ήταν λοιπόν ανάγκη ή μεν τύποι των επουρανίων να καθαρίζονται με αυτά, όμως αυτά τα επουράνια με θυσίες ανώτερες από ότι αυτές. We will now examine an extract from the Gospel of John, John chapter 1, verses 43 to 51, in order to compare it with the Hebrews passage. Generally speaking, John writes using a restricted vocabulary and short, simple sentences with lots of and conjunctions, that is, ke in Greek. Sometimes his sentences are not even linked by ke, but simply flow one after the other. He often uses therefore, as a connective narrative link, rather than with any argumentative conclusion. Similarly, he often uses ina and odi without expressing purpose. Although John uses simple syntax, nevertheless he expresses profound spiritual truths regarding the Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and the gospel of salvation. John's style of writing is much simpler than that of the author of Hebrews. Here we see in the color red the words which the average Greek of today would have difficulty understanding. Notice there are fewer difficult words than in the extract from Hebrews. Of course, Cypriots will have no problem understanding bothen in verse 48 because it is still commonly used today. Bothen. From where? On the right-hand side, you can see the same passage in modern Greek. You can pause the video now if you wish to carefully examine the comparison. Again, for the sake of time, I will read only the first verse of the extract. In the original Greek, it says, Τι επαύριον ηθέλησεν ο Ιησούς εξελθήν εις την Γαλιλαίαν και ευρίσκει Φίλιππον και λέγει αυτό ακολούθημι. And now in modern Greek, την επόμενη ημέρα ο Ιησούς θέλησε να εξέλθει στη Γαλιλαία και βρίσκει τον Φίλιππο και του λέει ακολούθαμε. In English, it's the following day Jesus wanted to go to Galilee and he finds Philip and says to him, follow me. The modern Greek is remarkably similar to the Koine Greek of 2000 years ago. A Greek can guess that di epavrion means the following day because the word avrio in modern Greek means tomorrow. So a Greek of today will have no problem in understanding verse 43 in the original Greek. Can present-day Greeks understand the Greek of the New Testament? The Epistle to the Hebrews is much more difficult to understand than the Gospel of John because of the style of writing and the subject of the content of the text. Here is the pericope from Hebrews. I asked a young Greek lady to read the text. After she had read it, I asked, roughly what percentage of the text did you understand? She replied, I only did a bit of ancient Greek at school. This was very difficult. I understood less than 30%. Oh, and by the way, she does not look like that confused emoji. In comparison, here is the quotation from the Gospel of John. Both texts, Hebrews and John, show the difficult words in red. You can see there are far fewer in the one from John. I asked the same young Greek lady to read the 2000-year-old text from the Gospel of John. After she had read it, I asked her the same question. Approximately what percentage of the text did you understand? This time she was much happier. She smiled and said, more than 70%. Can present-day Greeks understand the Greek of the New Testament? Do you know, if I had a pound or a dollar or whatever currency you use, for each time this question has been asked of me, I'd be a very rich man. And this is one of the reasons why I'm doing this video. If someone else asks me this question, I will refer them to the video. And at last, here we are, the definitive answer. Yes, modern Greeks can understand the Greek of the New Testament. And no, they can't understand the Greek of the New Testament. The answer depends on which Greeks and which parts of the New Testament.